Alrighty, this video is about how to make our trinket dishes. These trinket dishes are for Valentine's Day, but these can be made for any holiday or just because. You begin by taking out of your clay, a piece of clay, and rolling it out with a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a jar or anything that is hard and is at least 1 to 2 inches wide, not too much wider and not too much more narrow. And then you roll out the clay onto your working surface. We provide these laminated spaces. You can also use a tabletop as long as it has no grain. This tabletop would not work well because you can see the grain here. If you have a day prep teaching table that is a school table, it will naturally work as well, and you can clean it off from there. Always be cognizant of the area around your table so you're making sure that you're not damaging any property and keeping it nice and neat and clean. Don't do it on a paper towel or anything like that because it will get very sticky and messy. Okay, so you roll out a small piece, like a ball about the size of an apple, to the shape that you want, to like an oblong, so that you have enough room for the shape that you want to do. So then you take a cookie cutter and cut out the shape from the clay that you just rolled out. Roll the clay out to about this thickness, so that's a full like 1/4 inch, maybe even a little bit more, until you get better at it. And then of course you can go to even thinner and you can experiment, but we don't want the child to be disappointed first time in, so go a little thicker and it will be very easy to do. Then you take a napkin of your choosing. We have sports napkins. Since this is Valentine's Day, we have hearts, and then we have these general ones here. The napkins are kind of costly, so please save the ones that you don't use. The single napkin could be used to make 4 different items because you are using only a single ply. So once you figure out the pattern you want, cut just a single ply from it and leave the rest in here. Then lay the ply down and take the cookie cutter that you used and trace it onto the ply of the napkin. So you can put it right onto the napkin and trace around it with a pencil or very lightly with a pen. Just be gentle so the ply doesn't tear at all. Then you're going to use scissors and very carefully cut the ply, because if you bend it or it gets all icky, then it won't look as nice on your clay. Then you lay the ply right on top of the clay that you used. If it doesn't seem to sink into the clay has gotten a little dry, just take a tiny bit of water onto your sponge very gently. If you move it too fast or if you move it with too much pressure, it will rip the ply. So just gently put it down, especially around the edges, and try not to overwork it, or again, you may have to start over. Help your student the first time so that they're successful, and then give them a little bit more freedom the next time around. You can also make one simultaneously with your student as long as they are getting the results that they want. You can go step by step, control your students' actions, control their steps. So say, okay, we're gonna pause, okay, we're gonna wait, okay, we're going to do this now. Okay, at this point, you are going to wait 24 hours. So you're not going to do anything else for 24 hours. So you're going to let it dry in a safe space. If you want it to be a trinket dish, you need to put it on top of a cup like this, or on top of a muffin tin, where you can put several of them out together. Over the night, this will indent. It'll fall down a little bit just because of gravity, making a perfect little trinket dish. Of course, you can add legs, you can do other things to make it fancier. This is the simplest way that you can do it. Same for this one, just an indentation that makes it a trinket dish. Trinket dishes can be used for keys or jewelry or coins or any just fun thing, even a little treat for yourself or someone you love. You can also hand form. I just hand formed this with a little bit thinner piece of clay, but if you go too thin, it can be more challenging for a child. So make sure that you give them a success out the door, and then of course they can play from there. We do want them to come out of their first clay project with a nice result that they feel proud of, either to keep for themselves or if they're giving it as a gift for a holiday. So the next day it'll be hard and dry, and it will have the indentation, and this will be on it. So then you do the next step, which is using your paintbrushes to paint just the edge, only because it makes it look nicer. So you will have 3 or 4 brushes in your supplies, and use a small brush like this one of these two, to put out a type of paint that you like on a dish. You can do it however you want. Obviously, there's no rules in art in terms of that. But think about your student, what's manageable for them. If they have an idea that you think ultimately is going to be too complicated or cause them to not feel successful with the activity, pause them on that idea and bring them to a simpler idea. I would start with 1 color for the first one that you make. Then let it dry. It will only take about 20 minutes or so to dry enough to where you can glaze it. I didn't let these dry very long. I just set them aside for about 30 minutes, did something else, and then came back to them. Then you can use this brush or this one or both to glaze the trinket dish. And so this is a squirt top. If your glaze is coming to you like this, then you'll just gently dip it in, and you don't need to use too much. Start in the middle and pull it out gently like this. Make sure your brush is soft and pull it out gently all the way, and then you're going to hold it up and then gently go around the sides there. On the back, it is nice to glaze the back also. So you can use a black Sharpie to write the student's name very neatly here, and then the year. So Sally, 2026. This is for the parents, so you don't have to put their last name. They know their last name, but you do want to put the year. As a parent, when your children are 30 years old, you're not going to remember if they made this when they were in 1st grade or 4th grade. It's so nice to have the year. So then so once this dries, you could wait again another 30 minutes, turn it over and glaze the back, write the name, glaze the back, and let it dry further. You can also wait till the next day if you don't want to worry about this like getting affected because you turned it over. This is the safest surface to use and turn things over on because it's not going to cause any sticking or things like that. It'll be the best surface. But the longer you wait between steps, the easier it will be for you to manipulate the item. So these two were single ply napkins, and this one I painted with paint brushes with this paint. You can Google trinket dish clay trinket dish painting ideas, or clay painting designs, things like that. You can get images that have multiple designs on one sheet, things along those lines. This will help inspire your student, or maybe they already have a really clear idea of what they do. I just had fun. I didn't really worry too much about it and just tried to do things that I had done before in my drawing, because I usually draw, not as much painting. And then you'll see how it goes. I see this is like peeling up a little bit there. So again, you want to be careful letting things dry so that won't happen as much. We do have a lot of other clay supplies. So if your child was really excited by this activity, just know we can get you a complete set of these tools that are so fun to use for making clay. It just makes it really magical if it was, again, something that they're very drawn to. So you have your paint, you're going to need a little cup of water, and then you will need this. You'll need 1 or more cups to put your dishes on when they're done, if you're making trinket dishes like these ones, and so on. This activity is meant to make a dish of some kind. It is not meant to make a figurine or anything else. We want them to have the experience of using a 1-ply napkin to make a surface. So no matter what, we do want them to do that at least once. And the idea is that they are making a Valentine's gift for their family. If it's not Valentine's today, it could be another holiday or the parent's birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, etc. So, and then we put it in this bag, which is so nice, and then we fold down the top. You can wrap it in tissue and then fold down the top and write on it first, to mom and dad. It can be decorated, it can be very pretty with hearts or flowers or whatever the child is drawn to making for their family. So again, these are the supplies that you need. If you have any questions, just reach out and we'll be happy to answer them as you move along. And last thing, just use less to begin with. Like these paints, you need a very, very small amount. So just squeeze out a tiny bit on the paper plate or whatever you're using so that it's very easy to make good use of the materials.